So this lens is awesome, and I'm talking about the Viltrox 85mm F1.4 Pro, and I believe this is Viltrox's first Pro series lens for the full frame mount. The other lenses that I know are, the Lab series, which are the 135mm f1.8 and the 35mm f1.2. This one is first for the Pro series in the full frame lineup. So this is an interesting one for Viltrox because I've been using this lens now for a couple of weeks. Let's start with the build quality. My first impressions when I unboxed this lens was this lens looks really nice and really premium. You got a nicely built lens, it's full metal construction, and it weighs about 800 grams, which is a hefty fella. And with the Viltrox, you also get the aperture ring as well, the AF/MF toggle switch. You also got this customizable FM button right here, on/off switch if you want to feel your aperture click or not. And you also got the Pro badge on the side here, which is great to see. And at the back here, you can see the red rubber gasket seal, making this lens perfect for all sorts of shooting conditions. Viltrox did say that this lens is weather sealed. I haven't tested it yet because it's summer in the south of Portugal and it's freaking hot, bright, and sunny. But I'll leave the weather sealing testing for the other folks out there. At the back, you also got the USB-C port for future firmware updates as well. This lens has a minimum focusing distance of 79 centimeters, and I would say that this is consistent with other 85mm lenses that are being produced nowadays. Overall, the build quality of this lens is top-notch. I am quite happy with the way it is built. Viltrox is coming out with more lenses than I am switching underwear, which is crazy. It seems like they come out with like new lenses every month or so. Let's talk about autofocusing on the Viltrox. I think on the Sony a7 IV, I thought it worked fine. The eye tracking worked really well when I was shooting portraits with it. I think where it does start to lose focus is when, the human subjects moves too quick, or it does a spin move, or it just, moves a bit more erratic than usual. Perhaps this is because the Sony a7 IV doesn't have like that AI processing chip, like the ones you can find on like the Sony a7C II or the Sony a7R5. To help with the subject detection and whatnot. There are times where I found that sometimes the lens would do this mini pulse before it locks onto focus. It's like a millisecond drag. But other than that, I've been quite satisfied with the lens's autofocusing performance. Now let's talk about image quality, and this is what I'm really excited about. It's an 85mm f1.4 lens. This focal length plus, the wide aperture makes for a delicious, buttery background blur, that bokeh. And I had a lot of fun shooting this lens wide open. When it comes to sharpness, I think at this point, it's not a surprise anymore what Viltrox can do with their lenses. This lens is freaking sharp at f1.4, especially in the center. Sometimes I would zoom in to like 100% or 200%, and I had to check my metadata and ask, was this shot at f4, f2.8? And then I look at the metadata and it was like at f1.4, and I'm like, holy crap. So to me, this lens is a very sharp lens. Now, I find the bokeh to be very smooth, very beautiful, and it makes the subject really pop out of the frame as well. As you can see in some of these shots that I took with Rachel. I find this lens to be very useful as well. If you've been to like the Algarve during the summer, you know that it's quite busy and you have people walking around everywhere, and the shots you may take may or may not be in your favor. People walking into your shot, it could be distracting. With this Viltrox 85mm f1.4 though, you can just cut through the noise and just isolate the subject. The compression that this lens gives with its f1.4, really lovely in my opinion. And when you get closer to the subject, it gives you a nice fall off that you get to see in some of these portraits that I took with Rachel against a white backdrop. For this shot, I wanted to be a little bit more intimate, and with that fall off, I can achieve that intimate look very well. It's like very smooth. Then once you stop it down, you're going to see some increased sharpness. Some of these shots you see right here were shot from anywhere from f2.8 all the way to f11. I try to get a variety of shots to show you guys what this lens is capable of. Now, when it comes to chromatic aberration, there is very minimal fringing. Only in high contrasty situations you can find it, but again, you really have to look for it. Although you do see a little bit of Loca when you are at minimum focusing distance, like this shot right here. You can see it, but I don't think it's that bad. It's something that you're going to have to pixel peep for. Now, this lens does suffer from flaring. It does get a bit washed out when the sun hits the lens. It does give a nice soft glow, and it washes out the image if you're not too careful. So as you can see in some of these shots I took of Rachel, it looks a little bit, it loses its contrast. So you just got to be careful of where the lens is in relation to the sun, and you should be fine. Now, this lens is coming in at $600, which is a pretty good price for an 85mm f1.4. If you look at the competitors out there, you got the Sony E-mount, you have the G Master lenses, which is crazy expensive. The 85mm f1.4 G Master Mark II is close to $2,000. There's also the Sigma DGDN Art lens, the 85mm, and that lens is around $1,200, costing more than double of the Viltrox lens. You also have the Sony 85mm f1.8, and that lens is old and it costs as much as the Viltrox at $600, so might as well get the Viltrox. And then you also have the Sirui 85mm f1.4 Aurora lens, which I think is a terrific lens, by the way. It is about $100 cheaper than the Viltrox as well. And I'm sure there are more 85mm lenses from other lens manufacturers that I may have forgotten, but I just want to share with you guys the value that you are getting with Viltrox for an 85mm f1.4 for $600. You're getting an f1.4 lens, you're getting a Pro Series lens, meaning it's reliable, it's great image quality, it's great build quality, you're getting a weather sealed lens, you're getting the aperture dials, all these toggles and customizable buttons on the side that you would see from lenses that cost like $1,000 and more. And Viltrox has been killing it lately. They continue to push out great lenses at an affordable price, and now it seems like other lens manufacturers, especially from China, are racing to get their prime lenses out onto the market. Like the 85mm prime lens. You also have like the recent f1.8 lenses that came out from these Chinese brands, so it's starting to overlap with one another. So again, what I really want from Viltrox now is to focus on making a zoom lens, because I'm really excited for that. They already filled out their important prime lenses now. I think what Viltrox is missing is a good 35mm and a 50mm f1.4 Pro Series lens. And after that, they should be the first out of the upcoming Chinese brands to make a zoom lens. My money is either Sirui or Viltrox to come out with a zoom lens. And that brings me back to this lens right here, the 85mm f1.4. I think this is a terrific lens, and honestly, Viltrox has been making such great stuff lately. I haven't felt the need to use any of my native lenses from Fuji. Everything that I've been shooting with lately are from Viltrox or other third-party brands. It's just more fun, it's just more modern. They're giving us, you know, interesting and affordable lens choices. The 85mm Pro has great image quality, sharpness is on point, subject isolation, the background blur, the fall off. They're all chef's kiss in my opinion. I think if you're a portrait photographer, you should consider this Viltrox 85mm f1.4 Pro lens. And if you're interested in this lens, I'll leave the links for you guys to check out. And if you do decide to use my link, I'll get a little bit of commission. And by doing so, you are actually supporting the channel, and I really appreciate that. So consider subscribing for more photography gear content like this one. And let me know, what are your thoughts on this lens? Do you guys have one? Want one? Let me know your thoughts down below. And thanks so much.